Hey guys, Congresswoman Cammack here, and it is about almost 5:45 on Thursday. What day is it, Larry?
It is
the 10th, March 10th. It has been a week like you wouldn't believe. Actually, I know y'all would believe it because we've been keeping you updated throughout the week about these crazy late night votes. Last night we were on the House floor voting until close to midnight on these massive packages that, let's be honest, nobody has read. So yesterday I gave you guys the rundown on these bills that were being pushed. Pushed because the Democrats had to get to their retreat in Philadelphia. They had hired performers like DJ Jazzy Jeff to perform, and well, I guess that was more important than actually doing the work that they were hired to do. So they dropped the legislation at 1:22 in the morning yesterday, gave about 12-ish hours for us to read over 2,700 pages of legislative text. And there was very little debate, no amendments, nothing. And the end result was that the omnibus package, which was over $1 trillion, about $1.5 trillion of our money, was spent yesterday in an omnibus package. It's called an omnibus because it's a combination of a continuing resolution and current appropriations. Within that, you had 2,700 earmarks, because the Democrats brought earmarks back. And earmarks, the way that they're done, there's no accountability. There's the way that this has been done. It's very much quid pro quo, and the speaker gets to determine which earmarks make it in. And so if you have a project in your district and the speaker likes you, there you go. You can have money for your project. And I don't think that's an appropriate way to do to legislate and to control the purse strings right now. So 2,700 earmarks approved in this bill, and we can start highlighting some of the more egregious ones. But I will tell you that Nancy Pelosi, now remember this famous park, so many months ago, I had told you all about this park in Nancy Pelosi's district in San Francisco that she wanted. Well, she got it. She got the funding for her park. They also secured about $40 million for the Kennedy Center, the Democrats' favorite money pit. Remember when COVID shut everything down and the Kennedy Center laid everybody off, and then they got all millions and millions and millions of dollars to do I'm not quite sure what? Yeah. So the Democrats just gave them more money. They also increased money for IRS agents and a litany of other projects. $1.5 trillion of Americans' tax dollars went in the blink of an eye. No one read the entire text because it was 2,700 pages, and they violated the 72-hour rule that says that members have 72 hours to read every bill before they vote on it. We had less than 24 hours. So that bill unfortunately passed. As you guys can probably guess, I was a no. I was pretty resolute in my opinion that if you don't have a chance to read the bill and you don't know what's in it, you can't support something that you don't know is in there. And it's such a big behemoth of a bill that we are going to be hearing about these little nuggets, these little expenditures and programs that were created to further this social justice warrior agenda that the Democrats are pushing. We'll be hearing about this for months, probably years. So it's really, really frustrating that we saw so many people support this kind of garbage process, but also legislation. The other bill that was on the table that you guys probably didn't hear a whole lot about was a CR, a continuing resolution. Now, this continuing resolution is good for 4 days. 4 days, right, Larry? I got Larry, our chief of staff, here in the office, and it's just been, like I said, a whirlwind of a week. So the team is exhausted. They have been doing nothing but working till the very early morning hours, and it's been a real doozy of a week. But The CR will take us gives another 4 days for the Democrats to fund government. Because, like I said, they were more interested in taking off for Philadelphia so that they could party it up with celebrities. And they were supposed to have done the CR government funding legislation this week. But, DJ Jazzy Jeff cannot wait. You do not keep him waiting, according to Nancy Pelosi. So, CR was on the table. It also passed. I was, as you can imagine, a no vote. This is no way to run a country when everyday Americans like you and me are paying over $4 for a gallon of gas of our money, not taxpayer money, like Nancy Pelosi, but our money, where we stand there and pump our own gas and buy our own groceries, and we have family members to take care of. They're out partying, and we're left to continue paying for their ridiculous, out-of-control spending. So those two, the omnibus passed, as well as the CR. And the third bill that you guys probably have heard a little bit about in the news today is the Russian oil ban. Now, I went through this bill, and I got to tell you, there are some interesting little nuggets in here. There were a couple of people that voted against it. Both Republicans and Democrats voted against it, and each had a different rationale as to why. I'm going to give you the rationale as to why I voted for it. So this Russian oil ban, it's a step in the right direction. We can't simultaneously offer aid to Ukraine while simultaneously ignoring our southwest border and buying Russian oil. So in this respect, we're funding both sides of the war. You continue to support Russian aggression by buying their oil. So it seems like a non-starter and a no-brainer that we would not be purchasing Russian oil. So the sentiment is there. The legislative text, however, is about as watered down as you can get. It, one, didn't do what we need most, which is to restart domestic energy production. It didn't do that, and because there was a process by which no amendments could be offered to this bill, meant that we could not insert additional language into it that would have made it so we could restart and force Biden to do that. The Democrats have seen that we are going to offer amendments at every single turn and use every legislative parliamentary procedure at our disposal to make sure that we're pushing for domestic production and America First policies. So they strategically position and propose the legislation this way. So no amendments were allowed on the Russian oil ban. The thing that concerned me about this was that the Russian oil ban, the way the bill was written, was that it doesn't kick in for another 45 days. That's the first problem. Number two is that it gives discretion to the administration to exempt existing contracts. So basically, it doesn't kick in for 45 days, and the administration can pick and choose which contracts they want to keep going with the Russians. Seems pretty stupid if you ask me. But it sends a message that at least at the end of the day, we can come together and agree, Republicans and Democrats, that we shouldn't be importing Russian oil. And it starts the conversation, I know for certain it did last night, that domestic energy production is paramount. It's not a issue of just lowering gas prices. This is national security. And how dare this administration have the nerve to go and talk to the Ayatollah in Iran and say we are interested in importing Iranian oil when they are shouting death to Israel and death to America? Yet no, that doesn't fly. It's unacceptable, will not stand. And then also to go to Venezuela, to a socialist dictator, and ask if they will give us oil, not going to fly. There is a incredible movement right now to go to force the hand of this administration, and it's coming. They know that it's coming because we're going to take this House back. We're going to take the Senate back, and Biden's going to be a one-term president. So at this point, they're doing everything they can, and this is a freight train that's not going to stop. So we have the plans in place. We're going to get wages up. We're going to get fuel costs down. We're going to get this country back on track. But the Democrats, they're in a moment in time where they know that all is lost. They're not just in disarray, they're in denial. They're in denial that they can actually win in November. And so while it is incredibly frustrating, and I know that people are hurting and making very tough decisions, trust me, I know, it is a time when we have to hunker down, hold on, know that there are people in Washington fighting for the things that you and I care about, but also know that we are limited because Americans, for a lot of different reasons, you know, some people still support this administration. I don't understand why. I don't understand how, but they do. And so we're going to, every single chance that we can, we're going to be fighting. So I know a lot of you had been messaging me asking for an update about what had happened with these votes. So just a quick recap, Russian oil ban, I voted yes for it. I just gave you my reasons why. It did pass. It will go to the desk of Biden where he will sign it. And as far as the continuing resolution that keeps the government funded for 4 more days so that the Democrats can party through the weekend, that also passed. I voted against it because I think that they should have their tails back in Washington doing the work that they were hired to do instead of partying with celebrities in Philadelphia. I'm getting myself worked up. And the omnibus package, which was about $1.5 trillion. And like I said, 100% honesty here, there was good stuff in it, there was mediocre stuff in it, and then there was really bad stuff in it. But more importantly than that, you're given a bill that's 2,700 pages and you're given 12 hours to read it, and then you have to go home and be accountable to the things that are in that bill. I could not, in good conscience, uphold my oath of office and say, yep, I supported that piece of legislation because I knew everything that was in it. That's not true. Nobody knows what was in that bill because nobody read that bill. It was impossible. I showed how my team and we were sifting for hours through that piece of legislation. Don't let anyone tell you that they know what was in that bill because they don't. And we'll be finding out for a long time all the little poison pills that were in it. Just remember, there were 2,700 earmarks, 2,700 pork projects where people up here were, you know, trading favors and doing things and, you know, got the authorization, the blessing of Nancy Pelosi to send that money back home. Just remember, Nancy Pelosi got the park in San Francisco that she wanted you to pay for, whether you're in New York, California, Texas, Florida, Ohio, Indiana, or anywhere in between. You're paying for Nancy Pelosi's little pet project in her district because this bill, that omnibus package, was authorizing her earmarks. So really, really frustrating. I know that so many of you guys ask about how you can get involved. A lot of times we ask you to call the Capitol switchboard. Today, which is Thursday, tomorrow, Friday, of course, through the weekend, Congress will be out of session. So we come back on Tuesday nights. Tuesday night is when Congress is back in session. I'll have more updates for you guys then. So thank you to everybody who made phone calls. Thank you for everybody who reached out to your members of Congress as well as the Democratic leadership offices, encouraging them to give enough time for us to read the bill. And I got to tell you, I'm very disappointed, but I use these moments as fuel because I know that there is a red wave coming. And I know that we are going to see a renaissance, a comeback that has never been seen before. Because for the first time in a long time, conservatives are united. And more than that, we have a plan. And you guys are going to be hearing a lot more about the plan that we will be rolling out across the country here in the next few weeks. Very excited about it. There's been over a year of work put into it. Jim Jordan and I, we sit on one of the task forces together and have been working on the next generation freedoms and how we are going to protect our constitutional rights and use that as the building block for our agenda moving forward. So really excited about that. And I can't talk about it on this channel because I can't talk technical politics or campaigning on my official channel, but you guys are going to see some really cool things rolling out on the other side. So check out that other page if you can. And again, thank you guys so much for your continued engagement. Thank you for being willing to step up and do things that are inconvenient, like calling your member of Congress. It's a pain in the tail, but it's so important because people can't be effective representatives without the feedback from their constituents. So keep the faith. Let's keep working, keep fighting, and we're going to take our country back, guys. Take care. God bless, and I'll see you in a few days.